Betty, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
No one is to stone anyone until I blow this whistle.
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hello, welcome to the Zedos Game podcast. I'll say no more. Sach, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yep. Love the beard, man. Keep it. Or not. No.
That should be a poll. There should be a poll.
I'll put one up.
Put a poll. Should Sash keep the beard?
I'll put one up. If I'll pull my Vince McMahon card on you, if anything. I'll thank Neil for that one. Neil, how you doing, mate?
I'm alright, man. I'm alright. And yourself?
Juggling with broken glass. I think everyone is to some degree. Some are cricket balls, some are broken glass. Anyway, what do we have first, guys? We've got an epic list of trailers, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
First epic list of trailers is The Painter and the Thief.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
I'm going to try and watch this while you're talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, this one's directed by Benjamin Ree, who's a Norwegian documentary filmmaker. I didn't get the sense that it was a documentary while watching the trailer, but I've just seen it's a documentary. He's done 4 documentaries now. His previous one was Magnus and When Aline Kisses Lars. Never heard of him. But I didn't think it looked like a documentary. I felt it looked like a movie, to be honest, like a indie movie, and that kind of shocked me. But I like the premise. You know, I like the premise that like he's a dysfunctional dude and like becomes like her muse and stuff. I think it's got scope to be an interesting story. But that's just my take of it. What do you think, Neil?
Well, like yourself, I did not know this was a documentary. I genuinely thought it was a film.
It's a yeah.
Yeah,
it really does look like a documentary.
Honest, it looked interesting, but it looked interesting in the way of I would not seek this out.
Right. Okay.
Like if it was on, like if I was, flicking through the channels and it had just started, I could imagine that I would sit there and watch it. But the idea of actively seeking it out to sit down and watch it, like, all right, tonight I'm going to watch, The Painter and the Thief, that's not for me. It does seem interesting, and especially now that I know it's a documentary, that did like bump it up a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, it's not really for me.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer now. This is exactly a film that would be at Curtain Cinema. It's a very art-driven. It's a very indie art film.
When you say it's art-driven, are you taking a piss because of the fact it's got a painter in it?
A little bit, yeah. But it's very, very artsy. This is, again, I used to go to Curtin every now and again, and these are the types of films that you would see there. It bleeds Curtin cinema. Small indie film, small award-winning indie film. This is something I would kind of overlook as well, unless someone else talked about it, or unless it had a specific thing it was saying about society. I don't know, But yeah, I'll probably overlook this as well. And where's this going? I'm guessing it's being streamed.
Well, it's just come out for film festivals, so I don't think it's been picked up yet. So chances are it's probably going to go to streaming services because of the low budget and stuff. So we'll have to see, man, because I don't see cinemas picking it up. You know what I mean? Picking something like this up, but I could be proven wrong. If someone could research and let us know in the comments below, that'd be cool. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I didn't get a sense that it was a documentary until I looked it up just now. But I really liked the look of it and the story. You know what the story of it. It's something I would watch definitely. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, given that it's a well-crafted trailer, it does what it says on the tin. It's the painter and the thief.
Okay.
What's next?
Next up, we have Wanda, or should I say Two-Face and Two-Face, as it has Aaron Eckhart and Tommy Lee Jones, which I thought was hilarious because it's like, don't they both play Harvey Dent? We just need Billy D in there, and we'd have like a full set. But yeah, this trailer looked interesting. I like the vibe. Aaron Eckhart looks like he's playing someone against his usual kind of type, which is cool. And yeah, I quite like this trailer. What did you think, Neil?
This one was a bit more interesting for me than The Painter and the Thief. It did get quite interesting because it started out looking, I want to say, traditional of what the storyline is, and then it did start to get weird towards the end of it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, what are you doing? This is getting interesting now." Because it starts out like, oh, it's going to be a atypical, father seeks revenge joint. And then I was like, okay, interesting because, it's Tommy Lee Jones, Aaron Eckhart, and then I think Heather Graham's in there as well. And I was like,
wow, Heather Graham.
Yeah, I was like, you got a couple of people in this film and you just give me a nice basic storyline and let them just show off. I'm like, all right. And then it got to like certain parts of it. It was like, oh, there's a whole underground system. And then I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then it developed even more. And I was like, what's going on here? I was like,
yeah, it's been directed by April Mullen. She's an actress that's been around for ages. Most DC fanboys will know her from DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I'm not sure who she plays in that show. I'm not familiar with the TV show. But yeah, no, sorry, I do apologize. Did she act in it or did she direct it? No, it looks like she directed it. She directed 3 episodes from that TV show. She's directed a lot of TV and she's an actress as well. I think she's mainly an actress that's been around TV and independent films and stuff. And yeah, she's done about 3-4 movies now, and this is just her latest. She did Dead Before Dawn and 88, the movie 88. I've got an image of that in my mind. I just can't remember who was in that. I think Christopher Lloyd was in it. I'm not too sure, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, she's done quite a lot as a director. So this looks like something with 2 known names. That looks like it'll get a lot of people interested. Hell, if it's under Warner Brothers, you got to like throw in the Batman references there, right? Because that's the first thing I thought. That's the sell to me. It's got like two faces in there. It's like, how can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, the 4 faces of Harvey Dent.
yeah, the 4 faces of Harvey Dent. So yeah,
well,
what's your thoughts, Joe?
I'm watching the trailer as we speak, and it looks like a thriller. Well,
that's correct.
Clearly is. That's on digital and in theatre. It looks like a play-by-number thriller. I don't know if this is if it's one of those thrillers that come out around this time that is. I remember working at the cinema and putting up posters for these random thrillers that sometimes hit, sometimes miss. This looks like one of those. I don't know about it, but well crafted trailer. Again, as Campia says, it's nothing on the quality of the film. It's the trailer that you'll what is wrong with me today? I don't know.
Trailer.
It looks fine. It's again something that I would walk past I'd walk past the poster and go, oh, okay. Or if I was in a cinema watching a film and this came on, I wouldn't say anything about it. Yeah, it's a book by numbers. Yeah. That's it. Okay, what's next?
Okay, the next two I'm going to do together. One of them is probably not written on there because I labeled it wrong. But director Steve McQueen, who did... What did he do?
Shane, 12 Years a Slave.
There we go. Yeah, 12 Years a Slave. Yeah, Hunger, Widows as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Widows. And there was something else that comes to mind, but I can't remember what it was called. I had a different film in mind. But yeah, he's doing like a series of films. Okay, it started off as a TV series, and then started off as a TV series idea, and then basically he wrote it, and it became more and more cinematic that he decided to do it as a movie, and then the BBC like approached him, and now it's being shown on BBC, I think.
Yeah,
and basically but basically each episode is 2.5 hours long, which mean, because they were filmed like if they were supposed to be movies, and he's done 5 of them. The series is called Small Axe, basically. So the trailers we have is Mangrove, and the other episode is called Red, White and Blue, starring John Boyega. Now, Mangrove tells the story of the Mangrove Nine, who clashed with London police in the 1970s. It's a trial that followed was the first acknowledgement of behaviour motivated by racial hatred within the Metropolitan Police.
Right.
So that's the Mangrove movie. And the Red, White and Blue movie, it spotlights the true story of a guy called Leroy Logan, who at a young age saw his father assaulted by 2 policemen, motivating him to join the Metropolitan Police and change their racist attitudes from within.
Right.
And that's starring John Boyega.
Yeah, I'm just watching that trailer now.
Yeah, so I got to say, both trailers kind of grabbed me. I think it's going to be a phenomenal series. Obviously, in this time where the entertainment industry is trying to wake up and at least try and make a dialogue on how they should suggest, how they should look at issues like this. I hope that these lend to the bigger conversation on how we deal with racism moving forward, kind of thing. I think films like these are more of a positive kind of way in filmmaking, and to bring a message into looking at these worlds on how people feel about these certain subject matters, rather than to put it in a big popcorn blockbuster when those films are for escapism. I always find whenever you do it in a independent movie, or like a proper movie where it's based on that subject matter alone, you get more out of the story. It's like when I watched that Sidney Poitier movie the other day on the just before the last podcast. I've forgotten what the film was called, but it was a shock.
Mississippi Burning.
No, it was. Sorry, what?
Heat of the Night.
Heat of the Night.
Okay.
And what really shocked me about Heat of the Night is we haven't really progressed really since the 60s.
America hasn't progressed since the 60s.
Well, yeah, that's true. But it was just, like, it was just like, wow, okay, cool. And, I don't want to get political, etc. But I personally think there's, when it comes to police now in England, not necessarily the States, there's winners and losers on both sides of the fence here, kind of thing. I think there are corrupt cops. but then I think there are people that are just looking for trouble at the same time. You know, I'm not saying racism in the police is not a thing, because it clearly is, but I guess I'm on the Joe Rogan wagon where I believe like debunking the police is not the way. We need to retrain them and shit, and we need people to understand the bigger issues of these things. And a film like this, showing it from a certain point of view, is probably exactly what we need to see. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, from a purely entertainment point of view, like, you know, Steve McQueen is a genius.
Yes, he is.
I think he's one of the most prolific directors of this current time.
Neil, can I just stop you right there? Can you just lower your head a little bit? You're out of shot just a little bit. Thank you. Yeah, great. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, it's like he is absolutely prolific, and everything he does, he really does just touch on subjects.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was 12 Years a Slave or hunger or shame, you know, he just gets involved with it. And I would be interested. I am interested in seeing Small Axe, all 5 episodes, or all 5 movies, because of the fact that it's dealing with something that's a little closer to home. Because it's like, you know, I mean, British. I did reach a point probably around 12 Years a Slave where I got really tired of watching any kind of like racially motivated movie. So things like, you know, like The Hate You Give and you know, all these films, like, they are brilliant films, but I think I just reach a point where you get tired of it because it's not fiction to me.
Yeah.
Right? So I just kind of get tired of seeing it. But with this is something like, with these films, it's not something that is, how can I put it? It's not a world away. Like, no matter how horrible, you know, things are in the real world, in these kind of films, usually it's always happening in America.
Yeah.
So it's always a world away. I'm a plane ride away from being right dead center in the middle of that exact form of it. Whereas watching it here, this ain't a world away. This is a half an hour car ride, you know. And I'm definitely interested in seeing these.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. I remember watching 12 Years a Slave and thinking, I can't do this. That was a hard watch. I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm just saying that it's there's certain realities that really shock your core. That I've watched a lot of films through my day, especially with my mum, about slavery and stuff. And I wanted to when 12 Years a Slave came out, I wanted to show her that, and then I thought, no, I'm going to change. I changed my mind on that because my mum's been through enough crap. She doesn't need to see. She doesn't need to keep being reminded of what things were like in a particular era. And I thought to myself that I can't do this anymore either. I get it. I think a particular group of people don't get it or understand it, but it's as I'll go on to Small Axe now. As for these these 2 trailers that I've seen, it, as you said, it's closer to home. There's more. It's more visceral in terms of it. I mean, it was only 40 years ago. This happened. I remember the Brixton riots. That's how old I am, and I remember being quite. Even though Brixton's far from where I live, I was I was a little bit nervous about it, and as a kid, and the way Steve McQueen crafts stories, he has a unique perspective. I know that sounds very generic, but he does have a unique perspective on, because he's a black man telling stories of black oppression in the UK, which is for the most part it's always been other people telling that story.
Yeah.
And so I think this is it's gonna be unique in that way, that you'll get a different representation of what happened and what is still happening. In terms of solving it, I don't know if the human race is ready for for anything to be solved. I think that might have to be an alien thing, but we'll see it. We see how it's received at some point. When is this coming out?
This year.
Is it how is it going to be accessed around the world? Is it going on to like other streaming?
I think it's going on to Amazon Prime worldwide.
Right. Okay. Sense then. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I this is the best trailers out of the lot. And what is next?
The White Tiger.
White Tiger.
This was a good trailer.
Yeah, I thought this was a good trailer. It's got Priyanka Chopra, and she's the biggest name there. But yeah, I quite enjoyed this trailer. This director, he's done, what has he done? He's done a few episodes of Treadstones. He did Fahrenheit 451.
That's not good.
Oh, is it not good?
Treadstone's
okay.
Awful.
Isn't that the Jason Bourne spin-off?
Yeah,
right?
It is, and it's awful.
Does I take it? Does anyone from the Bourne series come in it?
No, there's no. You see Jason Bourne a lot. You see pictures of him, but nothing else.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I liked the concept of this film, man. It really stuck with me. I really quite want to see it, to be honest. I really dug the trailer, and that's all I got to really say on that. I don't really have much to say. How about you, Joe?
I'm watching it as we speak.
Okay.
Really.
Neil?
It's I ain't gonna lie. When I saw the title come up, when the title came up, the first thing that went through my head was, "Yo, this must be my Tommy Oliver solo movie, right? It better be the Power Rangers, White Rangers solo movie, right?" But no, like when I saw the trailer, all I thought was, "Oh, wait a minute, hold on, this is that book." Like, because I vividly remember seeing the advertisement for the book, The White Tiger, was everywhere. Like when I was working in central London, it was everywhere. It was on the trains, on the buses, everywhere. They were advertising this book, and I was like, "What is this book about?" It was, I'd go into like HMV, or I think the shop's called Floop, which is like a sister store to HMV. Flop, yeah, Flop, and it was like Flop. Yeah, sorry, thank you.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Literally, just there. It was always there, prominently placed, and I was like, "Damn, people really love this book." Never read it, never even looked at the synopsis, but seeing the trailer for it, I'm like, "Well, damn! Now I see why you were advertised everywhere." Because
holy shit!
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just seeing this guy get smacked upside his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's serious.
Wow.
And the subject matter is what really kind of drills me, because I'm like, to touch on what we were literally just talking about, I think
the caste system thing.
Yeah, even though obviously racism is not a new concept, or discrimination, period, right? Whether it's racial, gender, sexual orientation, it's like discrimination is not new. But I think people generally kind of get wrapped up in whatever their own discrimination is. So it's like if you're black, usually it's, you know, the discrimination that black people feel. If you're part of the LGBT community, then it's the discrimination that they feel. If you're a woman, it's the discrimination that they feel. It's, you know, so to see the hardship that someone else can go through, especially because it's set in present day. So I'm like, you know.
Yeah, it's I need to watch that trailer again, but I sense that it's the caste system. Did the British give that to the Indians, or was that already an established thing?
It was already an established thing. So basically, going into it a bit more, it's actually in a lot of it's instilled in Asian culture, not just Hinduism, like even Muslims as well. It's very much an Eastern thing, man, and it's some next level racism, man. It is some next level racism. Fuck it. You know what? I didn't expect this to get so political, but I fucking hate the caste system because basically, if you're a Brahmin class, you're supposed to be that's like the highest. That's meant to be the highest of the class. Right. So basically, you're as a profession, you have to be either a priest or a teacher or or a banker or someone that earns a lot of money or someone that passes on wisdom and shit like that, if that makes sense. And you know, it's kind of like it's instilled where everybody has their place. And like, if you're a lower caste, you're good for being a barber or something, or a servant class or something like that. And people actually believe in this shit. Now, here's the thing. If you research this shit, I'm going to say this, I don't care how many people we lose because I don't need them following me anyway. But if you actually read the text and stuff and go back into it properly, you'll find that this wasn't devised by God. It was devised by a priest, not a priest, a king. So a rich guy looked at a group of people, was like, they're the servants, we're at the top of the food chain, etc. This is how the world should be. And it's like, that's the short version. There's a bigger version. There's a bigger, longer version, but I don't want to go into it. And I'm just like, that's a man-made thing. You know what I mean? God didn't say that. But there are loopholes. You see, someone of a servant class, they could pray to God like 10 times a day and be the best human being on the planet. And then when they die, they become the Brahmin class. And it's like, that's the biggest load of horseshit I've heard. And here's the other thing. If you're part of the Brahmin class, you can't swear, you can't badmouth people, you can't do any of that shit. You know what I see? I see a whole load of those people doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing. You know what I mean? And these are the guys that are supposed to fucking know better. So fuck the class system, fuck that shit. I didn't expect to get political tonight, but that really got me.
Yeah, well, I hear you, man. It's I mean, like,
and for the record, my great granddad was a priest and he was a Brahmin, and guess what? I ain't shit because, oh whoops, did I swear? You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Well,
it's a good thing you're in the UK. So, well, I can't really add to that. I always knew about the class system, but it seems quite brutal.
It can be because people live hook and by crook by it. Like, seriously, people think racism isn't a thing. They need to go to India for a day, man, and just like, yeah, you have your role is here, okay? You what the fuck? And what you get from this trailer is like, you get a guy that wants to be a servant. You know what I mean? Quite clearly, he's like, this is what I want to do with my life. This is it. I'm living the dream, serving you. And then his eyes are open to how the world actually is, and he's like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? He's no longer brainwashed anymore. Do you know what I mean? He's like, fuck. And that's what I really want to see it. A lot of it. This is probably, you know what? This is probably one I really, really want to see out of the ones that we've watched.
It looks good.
But actually, to be honest, I want to see all the ones I've put up here. to be quite honest. But
I want to see 3 of the ones that you put up.
fair enough.
The one we're talking about and the 2 before. The other 2 is
Wonder, Small Axe, and White Tiger.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. I mean, the other films I've seen a dozen times.
Yeah.
The Painter and the Thief ain't cutting it for you, nah?
Nah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Wolf Walkers.
Wolf Walkers. Okay, I thought this might be some grindhouse kind of film, but no, it actually seems to be an animation. Yeah, and I'm looking at the wrong fucking thing. There we go. So it's about a young apprentice hunter and a father journey to Ireland to help wipe out the last of a wolf pack. But everything changes when she befriends a free-spirited girl from a mysterious tribe rumored to transform into wolves by night. You know what? I like the premise for animation. The animation style is not really what would attract me
Apple
usually,
TV original.
but
So no one's going to see this.
Yeah, you know what? If it was on TV, I would generally check this out, to be honest. But that's as far as I go there. I think the premise is kind of cool, but yeah, guys.
Looks great.
It looks what?
It looks fine. I'm never gonna see this. I'm not even gonna buy Disney Plus. So Apple TV is way off the radar for me.
Yeah.
Way off. So I can say what I want about this. It looks great. Sorry, carry on, Neil.
Yeah, no, I was like, levels to this shit. And Joe's like, I have no desire to reach the penthouse. I'm good.
Oh man.
Yeah. Do you know what? The trailer, the story is interesting, and I think with the animation style isn't my initial thing. But because of how different it is to every other form of animation that I have seen in easily the last 10 years, it made me think, yeah, I'd quite like to see that. You know, this would be something that I would like happily watch with my niece. And like, you know, it's more for me than for her, but like, yeah, we're going to sit down and watch it.
At least it looks interesting. It looks like it has a good premise.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It is as you so elegantly put it, Joe. This thing is on Apple TV, and I like. There's levels to this shit. I'm not in the house. So,
well, whoever does manage to watch this, enjoy it. I hope it's good, and yeah, enjoy Snoopy as well because they managed to bank that as well. Yeah. So did you hear about that, Sach?
Yeah.
What's that?
Not that you watch Charlie Brown or anything, but
I'm a big Charlie Brown fan.
Apple's nabbed all of the Snoopy fans. It's only going to be on Apple TV now.
Okay. I don't think there was a big influx of like Charlie Brown media at the minute. I thought Disney had the license for some reason, but that was because Blue Sky did.
That was Sony.
Was it Sony Animation that did the movie?
Sony.
Okay. Well, they missed out, man. They missed out. They were all about IP. Why did they let that go?
Because it wasn't profitable. They lost a bit of money on that.
They should have just kept it and tried to revamp it in about 10 years' time, man. Snoopy's a generational thing. I think to be honest, it's one of those IPs where it has really had its day, and I think doing it in CGI animation is probably the way forward. That's the only way, to be quite honest, to introduce it to a new generation of kids. It's just how you do it. I mean, like, I'm a big fan of stuff like Snoopy and Garfield, and Garfield's my favorite, man. I don't care. Like, if we're talking if we're talking about comics that got me into comics, it was probably those books. Like fucking that's what led me into the superhero stuff, because Garfield was my way in, along with Archie. So yeah, not a lot of people in the UK know who Archie is, but check out the TV show Riverdale. That's based on those comics and has nothing to do with those comics. That's for sure.
I'll
But
do
you know
one
what,
better.
Riverdale's
If you're gonna watch Riverdale, watch Sunset Beach.
Sunset. Hey. You know what? Riverdale's actually good, you know.
Yeah, so is Sunset Beach.
But yeah, it's the same kind of laughable, to be honest.
Hey man,
So-
same spelling. What's the people that?
was
made
it
all
by
the-
the same guy?
Yeah, it's by the spelling crowd.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Aaron Spelling.
Aaron
think so,
Spelling.
yeah.
You know what? That's even worse because he should have done that decades ago. He should have done it decades ago. I don't know why he waited for the 2010s, man. Seriously, he should have did this shit like back at, if this was on in the 80s, I would have been like all over this, bro. Archie probably would have had a worldwide appeal rather than being this niche thing that people are like, I kind of know Archie and Jughead, but I don't know who they are, and I'm like the one guy in class that knows all the characters and shit. But anyway,
The only way I ever knew about it was because they were in The Simpsons. Homer's always like going into. I think he goes into their land twice or something, and it's odd, but it's funny. What's next?
Half Brothers, the movie Half Brothers. I'm gonna say I really enjoyed this trailer. I think it's cool. It's directed by Luke Greenfield. He's done a lot of like safe comedies, but from his filmography, the comedy I really like. Have you guys ever seen The Girl Next Door with Eliza Cuthbert from 24?
Yeah.
And it's got Emil, and the guy that was Speed
Emil
Racer,
Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch, as the lead.
Hirsch.
That was a fantastic movie, man. I fucking loved it. You know what? I'm in the mood to watch it now, man. That was an X-Fox thing. Is that on Disney Plus? I doubt it, but but yeah, you know what? I'm shocked, man. They have all the X-Men films on that except for X-Men Apocalypse, and I'm like, wow, like. Don't get me wrong, Apocalypse ain't a great film, but neither's Dark Phoenix. In fact, I think Dark Phoenix is worse. How can you, let's trade up, let's trade films here, or just abolish one, man. But back to Half Brothers, taking a huge tangent. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's got Shira Scott in it and Vincent Spano. Never heard of them, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I really enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was quite endearing, quite funny. And it's the kind of thing I'd definitely watch. What do you guys think of the trailer?
Yeah.
At first, I was like, when it started, I was like, oh boy, whew, this ain't gonna be for me.
I see what you mean, because when it first started, I was like, oh god.
Yeah, when it first starts, I was like, oh boy. But then when I just sat there and started watching, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's a bit different. All right. And then by the end, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind watching that. That's quite good. It had enough nuances in this difference, but it is, it's like, if this film was made, I'm going to go out on a limb. I say if this film was made 15 years ago, then it would have literally have been Enrique Iglesias and Seth Green would be
Green. Yeah.
Those two would have been the cast.
It definitely would have been there. I see what you. Seth Green was everywhere in the 2000s. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It looks interesting. It looks like this looks like a Fairley Brothers film for some reason.
Yeah, it does. It's like when you look at it. I mean, obviously, I know the title is Half Brothers, but it reminded me of things like Step Brothers, and I was like,
yeah. It's got that. Started off, I went, oh, and then okay, but it looks like it's not falling into the same tropes that a lot of these comedies do. So I actually quite appreciate that about the trailer. I mean, the film could be absolutely garbage. You never know. It could just be a very, very well crafted trailer. But I mean, it sold me. It sold me. I'll definitely be enticed to watch it. So Yeah, thumbs up. What did you think, Satch? Or did you already say?
Already said, man.
Okay.
Okay. So next up, we have Triggered, the most generic horror movie trailer I've seen the past few years. Actually, that's a lie, because like the other week we had generic horror movie after generic horror movie. This probably just got like, this was probably from last week that got thrown into this week. But yeah, we got generic horror movie, Triggered. I don't know what to say other than group of teens going to a wood. They wake up while they're sleeping in camp or something, and like, oh shit, everyone's got bombs strapped to their chest. Well, shit, what are we gonna do? Nobody cares. That's about it, really. What did you guys think?
Not seen the trailer yet.
It's weird. Okay, so I, as a lover of horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, this might be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But then it seems like a cheap knockoff of
Saw.
No, of a cheap knockoff of Battle Royale.
Right.
It's like Battle Royale meets Saw.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's basically what it is. Because when it was like, okay, a bunch of people get together for like a high school reunion and they fall asleep and then they wake up and they've all got these harness strapped to them that have bombs on them and they've all got a timer on it. And it's like, oh, you've got 20 minutes and I've got, 5. If I kill you, I get your 20 minutes and then I have 25 minutes. And I was like, oh, so all this group of friends are now going to have to turn on each other, because it was like, I think the guy who set it up in the trailer is their teacher, because he mentioned something about here's your final lesson or whatever. And I was just like, you will never reach the peak that was Battle Royale, and you look like you might not reach the level that was Hunger Games yet, by making sure everything happens at night. I guess it could kind of be scary.
Yeah, I guess it gives it an edge.
Hey, all I know about this film is that if I'm ever hard up during the month of October for a film to fit into the Halloween movie run, this might get a watch.
Yeah, having just watched it, the start of it gave me. Did you ever see that film Tucker and Dale versus Pure Evil?
Yeah, Tucker and Dale.
The start of it just reminded me of that. I remember the trailer to that film. That film's beautiful. Anyway, this has a vibe that it's got that battle royale feel, and it's got I was just half expecting to that little doll on the bike to show up. I have a game if you want to play. This could either be good or good. It's just like 3 out of 5, good, or 0 out of 5. That's I'm not giving it any leeway in between. That's the level of this movie. I could be wrong. I hope it is good. I guess it feels some kind of B movie horror thing. I think I would still watch this if I was late night out, came back, we're gonna watch something. All right, let's see what this is about. Yeah, something that you just throw on.
Yeah,
when you're kind of
that's
drunk.
This is one of those movies that it's like it will get watched. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of when is and it's going to sound horrible, but I don't mean it in this way. If you've ever experienced what I'm about to say, then you'll understand. It's a level of how bored am I?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not like there's like every if you love films, you have a series of films that when you're bored, you put these films on, right? These are the films that you can get through without much. You don't have to pay close attention, right? This isn't Memento. It's not The Usual Suspects. You don't have to have your eye on the screen every moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Friday the 13th part 4.
Yeah.
Or part 6 or whatever. I could watch this and, the film will be on and I could maybe be looking at Instagram and watching the film and enjoy the film, but it won't take me out.
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah. I guess that's all I have to say. And that. When does it come out? Because it didn't say on the trailer.
Late as fuck because we're at the end of Halloween.
Sure, man.
Yeah. It probably comes out around that time. Either tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it for was that the last trailer?
Yeah, that's the last trailer. We got through the trailers.
Yeah.
Everyone give ourselves a round of applause.
Guess how long that took?
An hour?
Almost.
Nah, less than that. Less than that.
No, almost an hour.
What? For real? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we're halfway there, guys. No,
we're not.
All right, we'll try and be brief. Oscar Isaacs is the MCU's Moon Knight. He's playing Moon Knight, the vigilante for the MCU. He has multiple personalities. He's like Bruce Wayne, but even more of a psycho. But yeah, he's playing Moon Knight. It's being directed by Mohammed Dip. But yeah, that guy, he directed the movie Cairo 678 and the movie Clash. This is his big Western debut as well, directing all the episodes for Moon Knight. How do we, what? Oscar Isaac, I think, is spot on with the casting right there. I didn't think he'd do TV, so this is kind of big news. But then I guess everyone's doing TV nowadays. TV's the
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Except for Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise doesn't need to do fuck all.
Well, that's just it. You know what? I was looking at something and someone asked him, would you ever consider doing your own TV show? And he goes, I ain't come to do TV shows when I came to Hollywood. I'm here for the movies. I was like, damn. Tom Cruise does. I think the day he does a TV show is when he retires, man. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I saw an actor jump to TV from film to TV. That was Kiefer Sutherland, and he did that successfly.
Oh yeah, definitely. So successfully. People like me don't want him ever to leave that role, man.
Yeah.
It's like this was your purpose in life, to be Jack Bauer and shout loads.
The training for this.
Yeah.
Chloe, damn it!
I mean, he's so good, and no one else can replace him as Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
Well,
they tried that. They tried it, didn't they?
I mean,
not
they
in the role, but
they tried to bring on someone else, and the show doesn't work. And so
I've not seen Legacy. You know what? I might go whoop that out actually, because I'm intrigued to see how that works with the different protagonists.
It works, but it doesn't work well. It's like
really?
any other. It feels like any other show. It still there's recurring characters. There's all of that.
Do you think
it's missing that element?
Do you think Freddie Prinze could have taken? Yeah,
either Freddie Prinze Jr. or the guy there's a guy in Homeland. I can't remember the actor's name, but I know that shares no, it was a bit like Jack Bauer. He was kind of he was like a Rupert Friend. That's his name. He's a British actor. Yeah. So he was in the Homeland, and he kind of acted like that. He worked for the CIA, a shadow organization for the CIA, and he was fucking efficient, really efficient.
See, Freddie Prinze would never do it because he doesn't do acting gigs anymore. He will do voiceovers for video games and TV, cartoons and stuff, but he's a staying at home dad, man.
I'll definitely watch him in the 24, or as I said, the Rupert Friend. But beyond that, I mean, I didn't mind the character in that, but it was just it was too soon after Kiefer Sutherland. If the show had been off the air for maybe 10 years, maybe it would have worked. But no.
It's kind of Metal Gear Solid 2 when they give you Raiden instead of Snake, right?
Yeah, a bit like that. But back to this show. I don't know anything about. Is it Moon Knight? You said.
Moon Knight, yeah.
I know nothing about it. So,
you know what? I know very little. All I know is every time he shows up in comics, he just kicks ass and then he just disappears. Yeah. That's all I got. I've only ever seen him in costume in Spider-Man, and that's about it. But I'm hoping Neil knows everything there is about Moon Knight. I'm assuming, am I correct? He's kind of like their version of Batman, and he's like a millionaire?
It's weird. Okay, so he is basically Marvel's Batman. But he has multiple personalities,
like split.
Yeah. And he has actual superpowers.
So it's kind of like Killer 7, the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's if it's like that, I am in. I am so in.
Killer 7, for people that don't know, is a Capcom video game that came out on the GameCube. It's amazing and has a fantastic art style to it.
It's on the PC as well, so you can check it out.
Oh, it's on Steam. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So it is. He is a very complex character, and as you absolutely rightly said, Tash, every time you see him, he's beating someone up. And the last time that I saw him in the Faces of Comics, he was beating up Thor.
Yeah, he just comes in. That's the thing, Joe. He just comes in, he beats people up, and then he's gone. I'm like, no wonder I don't know this guy, man. And I never thought to pick up his own comic book when I was a kid, but I really should have, man, because like he was just some random dude just come up, get in a ruck, and go. And you're like, what was his deal? And then obviously it would be like to be continued in Moon Knight, whatever. And it's like, well, I don't get that book, so you know.
Nah, he's pretty dope. He's very underrated. He's like the best way I can describe Moonlight is like you think of the appeal that Daredevil had when it was like, you know, Frank Miller was writing him.
See, now that brings my other thing by what I know of the character from the comic books I've seen him in. I don't think Disney Plus is the right platform to do this guy justice, man. I think if because I remember last time they were floating a Moon Knight show was during the heyday of Netflix's Marvel Knights, and he would have been perfect there. And this is the thing with Daredevil at the minute for me. Like, I just don't see how Disney are going to do Daredevil justice, how they're going to do Punisher justice, you know, how they're even going to do Blade justice.
I think with Blade, they can...
I mean, like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, with certain stuff...
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like, I know Ken would be like, oh, well, you know, everything doesn't have to be an 18 to sell. It's like, well, I'm sorry, you know, it's like this. It's when you watch original RoboCop and then we get the remake version. And in my opinion, the remake of RoboCop wasn't that bad. I didn't think it was that bad. And I think a lot of people, like younger audiences, were like, yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. But the problem is with it, ultimately, is if you were to take one version, it ain't that version. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And this is the problem with what I feel with Blade. If it's a 12A, we've seen what real Blade is, and part of that gets diluted, and then when you put them toe to toe, it becomes RoboCop and a RoboCop reboot. It's like you don't pick that one, and that's my fear for stuff like Daredevil. And I guess Moon Knight's kind of different because it hasn't been proven in any other media, so it's got that on it. So whatever they bring, it could just impress me. But I'm just like, Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm not too sure, man, because it depends what Disney Plus do with it. And after looking through Disney Plus today, because I just got it just today, funnily enough, for Mando tomorrow, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, how dark can they go? Because he is a darker character. So, and this is just it. Like, when Daredevil does make his appearance, they have to, in my mind, top what they did with the Netflix show, because that, for me, was the Daredevil that I always wanted to see, and I got it. And even Punisher, like season 1 of Punisher was the GOAT. Okay, it was no, they fucked up with Jigsaw, bro. Not all of it. They fucked Jigsaw up.
Well, I was comfortable with Jigsaw.
Yeah, look, I liked what they did with the character. I got pissed off when they killed him though, because I was just like, sorry, spoilers. I was just like, my problem with Jigsaw, I wanted a real Jigsaw, like him have a fucked up face, especially after the first season, because like the way he gets murked out, I was like, oh man, he must look amazing in the next season. And when I see him, obviously it's Ben Barnes. Is it Ben Barnes playing him?
Yeah,
he's just got cut. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, seriously, whose idea was that? And then I thought, because it's a series and this is before they cancelled it all, I thought maybe he lives to fight another day and maybe Frank Castle mashes up his face more. And then they killed him and I was like, oh, you fucked this up, you motherfucker. But no, you know, it's just an aesthetic thing they fucked up for me. But aside from that, yeah, it's a great show. But I mean, but that's just it. Like, we will never get true Jigsaw. We will know the best looking Jigsaw or worst looking Jigsaw is the guy from fucking Warzone. And Warzone was you know what, Warzone wasn't too bad. It just, you know, I just didn't buy Ray Stevenson as the Punisher. that you know, but everything else about it was great. But yeah, back to Moon Knight. Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see it. I think Oscar Isaac will be great. And they, you know, to be honest, because there hasn't been an R-rated version of Moon Knight, they can just impress me with whatever they do, to be quite honest. So yeah.
I think also for me, like I totally get what where you're coming from in regards to characters such as Blade, such as Daredevil, such as Punisher. How do you introduce them into the MCU? I mean, there are, in my opinion, there are a couple of ways you can do it where you can maintain the integrity of the depictions that we've seen of these characters. But Moon Knight definitely gets a pass because of the fact that him being unseen in any other form of media. It's like there's never been a Moon Knight movie. There's never been a movie.
That's right.
You know, the character hasn't even made like a live action appearance in anything. So as long as you kind of give it strong action, like obviously minus the complete and utter bloodshed. Yeah. You know, that John Wick style of action, that kind of that level of intensity, then. Or
even like how they handle Mandalorian, because Mando is really pushing it, man. No. I ain't gonna say what happens in Mando because Joe said, but yeah, there's some special kills in Mando where you're just like, this is 12A.
Business, he handles business.
He handles business is business.
Do they have ratings on? Is it supposed to? Do they have ratings for the shows?
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Technically, no, but nothing on Disney Plus is above a 12A.
Right. Yeah. I see. Okay. That sounds like fun.
Well, that's the thing is, in my one thing I would like to say before we like jump onto like a new subject is that I do genuinely feel like what will probably happen is Disney will probably invest in some subdivision or sister app or something UK wise, because in America they have Hulu already and you know they can do what they want. But I think they will invest in something, and you will start to see things of 15 or more rating appearing on there, because obviously it's like you own Fox, but nowhere can anyone go watch. They can't watch the Alien movies. They can't watch the Predator movies. They can't watch the Die Hard movies on a streaming service because you own it and you are doing nothing with it.
Yeah, that's
like it's a market that they don't really have to care about, because as long as the world is always going to be spinning and there's always going to be children, and those children will always in some way, shape or form be brought up on Disney. Like all of us, like the three of us grew up with that, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Sword in the Stone and all of that. And when you think of the kids right now, they're growing up with Pixar and that. The kids before them grew up with Toy Story and things of that nature. It's like, it's just like they don't really need to invest in anything for older people. But hell, COVID kicking everybody's ass financially. I'm sure that app is in the wings.
Well, just to add something onto this whole thing. Do you know that streaming site Quibi was dissolved last week or the week before?
Yeah.
I think it's about to get very interesting in what people's tolerance, because I think because it's so finite how much money you can make from streaming. This is what I said. I said this to Satch a few years ago. You're either going to see ads, or they're going to put prices up. And the more and more films that are released, and the smaller and smaller the margins get, the higher the price will get. And just seeing the stuff that Amazon's pulling right now. I already knew this, but when you buy a film on Amazon, that's you don't own it. You have the right to look at it until they tell you not to, and there's a lot of things happening in the film world which I find really fascinating, and especially in terms of how many streaming sites there are now. And I think this bubble's going to burst soon. I say that it's the future, but I think if there was a Pepsi and a Coke to choose from, I think that's the way to go. There's a whole bunch of films over here, and there's a whole bunch of films over here. Come to either one. And everyone's going to have to unify at some point, because getting away from, I know the Americans were cutting the cord to go into streaming sites because it was cheaper. Everything was in one place or in two places, but now things are everywhere. It's if this is Warner Brothers stuff, it's in HBO. If this is Fox's stuff, it's at some form at Disney, and so on and so on. How much are you willing to pay to see the film that's on this other site that you only want to, and that's the only thing you want to watch? I don't know how far it's going to go. Rant over. What's next?
Uncharted. First look at Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I'll be honest with you. I saw his caterpillar on his lip.
Damn,
and I was like, and his dyed hair, and I was like, okay, you kind of look like young Sully from the video game. I could see it, but I know you're Mark Wahlberg, and I know you're just going to give me more good vibrations. Just because you look the part, don't mean you can act the part. And
has Mark Wahlberg give you good vibrations?
Whoa. Look, he's an entertaining guy in his movies. They probably cast them both because they both have their own sort of chemistry. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I could think of, man. I'm not feeling this fucking movie at all. I don't give a fuck what Ken says. It's like,
what does Ken say?
Ken's like, no, but it's going to be amazing because it's Tom Holland. I'm like, yes, tell all the millions of people that own copies of Uncharted right now that that's a good casting choice, man. Like, it's too young.
I don't think it is, but I think this is going to be marketed to people who don't know what the fuck Uncharted is.
That's right. And that's why Ken likes it, because
he's never played the game.
Never played the game. Well, no. You know what? He's played about a little bit of the game. He hasn't completed it, because if he had completed it, he would have said a lot more. But you know what I mean? Like, I know he ain't completed it. So I was just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, all right, cool.
Ken, I know at some point you're going to listen to this or watch it. Can you verify, have you completed Uncharted?
He's gonna text back in the group and he's gonna be like, yes, I fucking have. Yes, I fucking have. But no, I don't know, man. Like, cool. That's an opinion piece, but you know, I think someone should represent the core fans, and I'm one of them, and I just die a little bit inside every time I hear about the fucking Uncharted movie. Not the only ray of light for me was when I heard that John Canahan was gonna write and direct it for a limited period of time, that he was attached to it. But then he obviously saw it as a writing gig where he can get paid and write whatever the fuck he wanted. he wrote an R-rated Uncharted movie, and I'm like, well, I'd like to see that, but is that what Sony want?
The thing is, my issue with Joe Canahan now is that he's, ever since after what's the film that he did?
18?
No, the one.
The Grey?
No, one before that.
Stretch.
No.
Contraband?
Oh my god! What? No. It had
Did he do Contraband?
After
Smoking Aces.
Smoking Aces. Yeah. After he did Smoking Aces, he had all these plans to do either Mission Impossible, and he seems to do the same thing all the time. You either write a script or wants to do something, and the studio just goes, "No, we don't want to work with this guy."
You know what it is, because he is an auteur director. You know what I mean? He's an auteur director. He's a writer director that has his own kind of films. If you look at his filmography, it's nothing but great. It's nothing but gold. Mm-hmm. The only studio film he's really done is The A-Team, where, if you think about it, he had more or less creative license on that, you know, because he wasn't just a nobody director for Fox, if that makes sense. And, you know, they're a little bit loose with him on that, because their only concern was, we just want an action movie out of it. And he was like, fine, I'll give you that. You know what I mean? But he managed to write a smarter than average bear action movie out of it and gave us what we wanted. The only problem with A-Team was that, because we all love the A-Team so much, we shunned it at the box office, you know?
And that was to do with piracy, I believe.
Nah, dude, I was there. Man.
But it came,
no one saw that film.
I remember the story about that. The film came out in America several months before it hit the UK. And
did it?
Yeah, and there was a lot of people pirated it. People had already seen it.
Yeah.
I remember being like, oh yeah, when that film comes out, I'm gonna watch it. And people were like, oh, have you seen the A-Team? And I'm like, it ain't out yet. And they're like, well, I've seen it.
I remember a lot of people pirating that film. And that was just, I think that hindered it as well. I'm pretty sure that people had like ipso facto thing about going to see it or not. But
you know what? I would actually genuinely like to see another A-Team, to be quite honest. We won't get it, but
I want him to do not a Mission Impossible, Die Hard film.
Yeah, you know what? He'd be the perfect person to revitalize that, man. But then, knowing him, he wouldn't take shit from Willis.
Maybe that's what
you know what? If that was ever a reality, I would love to be the behind the scenes guy on that. Because that just looks like a boiling pot waiting to bubble, man. What were we talking about again? Oh, Uncharted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Basically, bottom line is fuck Uncharted. Next subject.
Okay, yeah, it was whatever, man. Let's move on. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll watch it when it comes out. That's all
Contra.
I can say.
We're going into
From
Contra.
one video game movie to another. Contra! A Contra movie script has been approved by the Beijing Starlit Movie and TV Culture, by Starlight Movie and TV Culture, and by the China Film Bureau. Yeah, Bureau. So these are three Chinese. Yeah, these are three Chinese production companies. Okay, that are more or less doing a Contra film. For those that don't know what Contra's about, it's a video game movie. It's a video game that came out on the Nintendo arcades by Konami and Super Nintendo. The best video game ever made in my eyes. Contra 3, Alien Rebels. Go check it out. The plot for this is that it's the year 2633.
I don't think the year matters.
Yeah, 2633. The evil Red Falcon organization have set a base on the Galuga Archipelago near New Zealand in a plot to conquer the world. Two commandos, Bill Razor and Private Lance Bean of the Contra unit, an elite group of soldiers specializing in guerrilla warfare, are sent to the island to destroy special forces and uncover the true nature of that alien entity controlling them. Okay, so that's the game. You know what? Yeah, this is just a game, man. It doesn't say movie over it, man. Like, it was never meant for the other format. But you know what? On the game, as Joe just mentioned, the front cover basically has Arnold and Sly. It has Sly from Rambo, First Blood, and it has Arnie from Commando as your player 1 and player 2. And I'm sorry, there's only way I want to see a Contra movie is if they de-age Arnold and Sly back to their prime and give me that movie, and I'm in. But we're not going to get that movie, so I don't care. But you know what? This is probably going to be better than Uncharted.
I swear I contest that. Anything, no offense to these Beijing companies, anything made with that type of money is usually quite trashy.
Yeah, true. Neil, what did you think?
When I read it in the show notes, I was like, fuck's sake. Because really and truly, I said fuck's sake for very different reasons, right?
Yeah.
At present moment, there is, and it's been this way for I want to say maybe 10 years, right? 5 to 10 years, right? There's been this massive boom and love for nostalgia, right? And that nostalgia has brought us some amazing things. It has brought us, Stranger Things, right? No nostalgia, we ain't getting that. Ready Player One, no nostalgia, we ain't getting that. It has revitalized and reinvigorated, I want to say, geek culture, right? Pop culture, the things that, these geeks and nerds that we were into back in the day, certain films, certain video games. And right now, we're reaching what I would say is the tail end of it, where everything starts to flip. And that flip is now, all right, we've gotten all the brilliant, great things that we can get from it. And now we're getting the things where people are clearly clutching at straws. And you want to make a film out of Contra, not a music video, right? This ain't Gunship, Gunship are gonna make a music video to Contra. No. This is, you're going to make a film of Contra, not an animated film, a live action movie of Contra. The best thing that Contra produced was up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, select, star.
A-B.
Right? Well, I was just saying, right, is that was the thing to come out, right? Is, 99 Men. But I'm just like, I feel like right now people are clutching at straws, and all they're going to do is sour and sully the good name that has been cultivated over 30 and 40 years of, classicness.
I hear what you're saying, but I'd still take this over The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, just saying.
No. I'd rather watch Star Wars.
No, I don't know, man.
I wouldn't. Because you know what? It's like, at least you could, as good or bad as people will find, Star Wars, I'm not saying it's going to go the way of the prequels, but this sequel trilogy, it will have its fans, and, come 10, 15 years from now, there will be people who strongly defend it. Not as much as the prequels. There are people who, if you grew up on the prequels, you're well within your rights to love them more than the original trilogy.
Did you hear what Kanye West said about it? Did you hear what Kanye West said about it?
Yeah, where he said the prequels are better than the sequels.
Yeah.
I can't. Hey, you got a point, man. Bro.
No, he does. He's got a huge point.
At the end of the day, regardless of the mistakes that were made, when you watch episode 1 and you start with episode 1 and you finish with episode 3, it is a full, complete story that you can say, I can see how you got from here to here. Yeah. You may not like every decision, but you like it.
Yeah.
The sequels, not so much. Right? And I say that as a lover of Star Wars, and both myself and Sacha sitting here with Star Wars tops on. Right? But harkering all the way back to Contra, like, there are so many other games that you could have chosen. Like, I was like,
but then here begs the point. Would you prefer a game like Uncharted, where it has a story, be adapted, or would you like to take something that's niche, that doesn't really have a storyline, or has like a very basic storyline, very generic storyline, and just roll with it with a good director, and or even, like, just have some fun with it and see what happens? Because you know what? I could see a very cheesy action movie being made if done right. But they're not going to do it right.
That's the thing. Is the reason I say I'd like it something with a storyline is because even though technically it should be easier to make something like Uncharted because you already have a pre-established storyline, you just got to follow the beats. I feel like I genuinely, all I'm hearing, I hear Contra, and all I think about is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Right? and I that's a guilty pleasure of mine. I enjoyed that movie, but I know it's a bad movie. Right? I enjoy it because it's part of my childhood. I know it's a bad movie. Contra will not have that blessing. Like, that film will come out, I will still be an adult, grown man with clear understanding of, a variety of things, from story progression to character development, and I'm going to sit there and be like, nope.
Yeah, but you know what? Thinking of Contra, you want it to have no story and all of that. You know what? If I was to do a fucking Contra movie, it would be a homage to the 80s action movie. Just guns and ammo all the way, man. Just guns and ammo all the way. Cheesy one-liners and just action cheese, man. That's all you need from a Contra movie. You don't need you could have like a brief like character synopsis on each character, but it doesn't need to be like hardcore, man. It's something you could have a lot of fun with, I think. I'm being an optimist here, but you know, chances are it's going to be bullshit, but who knows. Okay, moving on. Mission Impossible 7 and 8 filming begins again. Actually, it did a few weeks ago, but see, Tom Cruise is getting around trying to get this. This is a project that will never die, man, because every time COVID gets in its way, Tom Cruise has managed to, like, you know what I mean, get back up, man. He hasn't quite resorted to Mandalorian tech because obviously this is going to be nothing but real stunts and stuff, but I can't wait for these movies. How do you guys feel?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, to be honest, if he did use Mandalorian tech, I think it would defeat the purpose of the Mission Impossible films. For the Mandalorian, because they're building different worlds, it makes sense. For Mission Impossible, it makes sense I think it makes sense for him to be on location, or what. I think it needs to fit for whatever the characters are doing. I'm not totally against using the Mandalorian tech for specific scenes, but for his actual stunts, I mean that's what Mission Impossible is about now. It's about will Tom Cruise kill himself in this film this time?
No, because he's saving that for space.
Exactly. So
I'm the only person who feels like as good as the last couple of Mission Impossible films are, as good as they were, am I the only person in the world who feels like Tom Cruise might be going through like a midlife crisis, and like basically every time he's like, you know, like a normal regular like guy going through this, he might buy a leather jacket or buy a motorcycle or a sports car or something stupid, right? Like Tom Cruise is like, I'm gonna make a movie and I'm gonna do this stunt. Like, oh, like, Tom, are you okay? Yeah. You sure you're not going through nothing? Like, there's nothing going on in your life that's not great right now? No. Okay. So Mission Impossible, what do you want to do? I want to climb, you know, the Burj Khalifa. And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, we can do that. Like, you know, no. I don't mean like CGI. I mean, I really want to climb it. And they're like, Tom, you're a movie star. You're not a stuntman. I'll be like, yeah, but I climbed up a building. You know, I climbed up a rock face with no harness in Mission Impossible 2. And I'll be like, you were young then. You know?
Dude's almost 60. Can you believe that? He's like almost freaking 60, man.
He's like, do you know what he's like? He's like, okay, he's like a WWE 60. Right. And like he could still compete for the heavyweight title with like someone who's like, you know, younger than his grandchildren. Like I'm not joking. Like I could see it now, like Tom Cruise versus Ric Flair for the WWE title, because Tom Cruise is just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Right? He's like a kid who, you know, you tell off a kid and he's like, don't do that, you'll hurt yourself. And then they do it and they don't hurt themselves, so they do something else.
Yeah.
He's like that.
Yeah, he fucking so is as well.
Like, dude broke his ankle on the last one and then like finished the scene.
Yeah, that's insane.
Right. And I'm like, bro, I know people that can sprain their ankle and they ain't finishing the work, and they sit there. They have a job where they sit down. They can sprain their ankle when they're done for the day.
Yeah. He's made with some interesting stuff, man. I don't know how he works, but he's kind of like a machine at this point. So yeah, I'll do that. Fuck it, yeah, I'll do that. Will you die? Probably, but I'll do it anyway. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
And the fact that you know it's real, or to various degrees, it just gives you that. Fuck, he did that.
That's what makes you want to watch it. You know it's real, and you know he really did it, and you're like, okay, I have to see this because he did it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That the storyline is actually really good.
Yeah.
I love that interview with Will Smith recently this year for Bad Boys 3. He was like, okay, so Tom Cruise does his own stunts. I'm going to do my own stunts. And then he gets up there and he's ready to do the own stunts. He's ready and he looks down and he's like, fuck this shit, man. Tom Cruise can have the title. I can't be dealing with this.
I love that.
Oh, God. He said that on, I think, was it the Red Table or something he does?
Oh,
he said, yeah. I think that's where all the bungee jumping and all of that stuff, that was to psych himself up for Bad Boys and doing like all the stuff himself. And then when it came down to it, it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like,
yeah, from Tom Cruise to Carl Pilkington real quick.
Well, all again, what I'll say is, Tom, at this point, Tom can't do any wrong because he's just doing film after film after film after film. Some are hits, some are mediums, but he's still the Hollywood. I think he's one of the only Hollywood stars left in Hollywood that is still,
relevant from back in the day.
Yeah.
See, when people watch Mission Impossible, they think Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And it's a rare instance where an IP, because you got to understand, that was an IP before because of old TV show and stuff. But it's a rare instance where the IP is now the man, the star.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare where that happens, man. Especially for IP that's been, rejuvenated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he's been with this franchise for over like 30 years now, almost. Easily almost 30 years. So,
yeah, I would say since
95?
Yeah, 96.
96. So how many years is that? Is that 25 or?
Yeah.
Yeah, about that, yeah. It's
about 25
24.
years. So almost 30 years.
No, it's 24 years.
Yeah, 20. Okay, so it's very soon it'll be like 30 years. And by the time these two come out, it'll be 30 years. And like, that's good innings, to be fair, man. That's very good innings.
That's almost as good as Bond. I think that's beyond the Fast franchise. It's Bond and Mission Impossible has. But Mission Impossible's got better and better now.
Do you think after 8, do you think he's going to come back and do more, or do you think?
I think he's done.
Do you think there will be more, but have him in it as a side role, and someone else takes up the mantle? Kind of like what they were trying to do with Jeremy Renner in Ghost Protocol, because that was the plan.
Yeah. I reckon that he wants to finish his arc as Ethan Hunt, and someone.
I reckon they'll make him the boss.
Maybe.
Because at the moment now, I can't see Mission Impossible without Tom Cruise, and if you had a new star carrying on because here's the thing. This is why I like Mission Impossible now. It's not about the star. It's really, even though he's the big name, if you look at the films themselves, they've become more about the team. You know what I mean?
That's what I loved about 3.
Yeah, because that's just it. Ever since JJ has taken it on board as a producer, everyone gets an equal amount of screen time, especially the last 2 movies, man. 2-3 movies, man. And it's, you got your Tom Cruise, but you also have your Luther. Yeah, your Ving Rhames. You have your Ving Rhames and your Simon Pegg. I mean, Simon Pegg and what was really cool was that Ving Rhames sat out the whole of Ghost Protocol. Yeah. You could almost say they did that movie without him. And then what did they do? They cameoed him right at the end.
Yeah,
and I thought that was genius. And then I thought, I guess he's not going to be in them anymore. And then it was like, no, we just rotated the team. And then when Jeremy Renner had to go off and do his Avengers movie, they're like, fine, we'll just, because originally he was supposed to be the bad guy. They were going to make him the bad guy and have him be, because we've gotten to know him, through XYZ amount of movies, they were going to have him turn and, do that. But then, they couldn't get him. So they used it as an opportunity to bring in Henry Cavill, who was fucking amazing. You know?
Yeah.
I just think it's a franchise that still has legs even after 2 more. I think, depending on what they do, I'm pretty sure we'll be hungry for more because of the nature of the series. So
I think
I just hope Cruise sticks with it. Even if he's not doing the mad stunts, etc. Fine, get someone younger. You know what I mean? Get someone younger. You know what I mean? Like still be in it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, what I think is like, as you said perfectly, I think, you know, it is a series that has legs. I think what it is even though, like you say, Tom Cruise is the star of it, the fact that it is a ensemble, it's a team, you know, what it does is it means, as you say, you can rotate characters, and then maybe, like I said, they're doing, what is it, 7 and 8 right now, right? So maybe at the end of 8, he gets the job as the director, because if I remember correctly, Alec Baldwin, who was the director, he dies in the last one, doesn't he?
Let's be honest, all the directors die.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's been a consistent director in any of the movies. You know who I really wanted to come back from a previous one? Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah. Lawrence Fishburne character was just gold in number 3.
Yeah, he was. He didn't take shit from anyone.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like, I feel like it'd be perfect. Basically, it's like the Mission Impossible office is like Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry. And whoever becomes the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher dies. It's like whoever becomes the director of you know,
MIF, yeah.
Yeah, they bite it. They're like, all right, cool, we're going to give this job to Ethan Hunt. And he's like, yo, bro. It was like, this whole series is me. I ain't going to die.
All right, let's move on. Tony Jaa.
Tony Jaa has signed a 3-picture deal for an English language action trilogy that they're hoping to be picked up by the West. So it's a Chinese movie that they're making, but it's shot in English language. So this looks to be something that he's looking to, you know what I mean, like get some kind of acclaim from the West if it's any good. Has no other names in there other than Tony Jaa, by what I see, and there isn't that much about it. But you know what, Tony Jaa is an action star that I think should have broken out years ago. Obviously, he had a very strong opening with Onk Bak, and he's done other films since. Those films have been kind of hit and miss for me, and I just think his career, like by what I've heard, I've got a friend who actually knows him firsthand, and by what he's told me, Tony Jaa's never really been about like being the famous guy. You know what I mean? Being, you know, something that just happened. And this struck me as like a really weird kind of thing because, you know, for me as a martial arts fan, seeing Triple X, the last Triple X movie, and you had Tony Jaa on the poster and Donnie Yen, I was psyched. I was like, oh my God, we're going to get Tony Yen. This is going to be an amazing movie. And I thought that movie was a joke. It wasn't the greatest movie of all time, or anything. In fact, most people think it's shit, but the most disappointing aspect of it was Tony Jaa was just a side guy in there. You know what I mean? He was just henchman number 2. And it was like, well, that's a waste. You know what I mean? And then when you watch his modern day Hong Kong movies, he's only in it for one fight scene and that's it. You know what I mean? He's never leading, you know? So to see him lead a film where it is a 3-picture deal, I'm like, okay, is he trying to get the A-list status back? Maybe.
Was he ever A-list?
Well, that's just it. In Hong Kong, he had a window, isn't it? Because people loved Onk Bak. There were 2, and people loved Warrior King, which was also good. But, you know what I mean? After that, it just kind of like, he did other movies that didn't really hit the mark. And then what they did with those movies, they just called them Onk Bak 2 and Onk Bak 3 in the West just to try and, you know what I mean?
Capitalize on the success of that first film.
Yeah, totally. because he was a hot property then. So we'll see what happens. I mean, like hell, man, fucking Ethan Hunt, hire him for Mission Impossible, getting more recognition, man, in a hero role rather than getting beaten up by fucking Paul Walker, which again upset me.
Well, the joke's on Paul Walker. He's dead now. You literally just like. Good. Yeah, I'm glad he's dead. I'm joking.
Yeah. But I know, guys. What do you guys feel?
I feel disappointed that Tony Jaa made a movie with what I would say is arguably a good crop of some of the like top martial artists, movie stars, and it's hardly been seen by anybody. The movie, I think it's called Triple Threat.
Yeah. Oh shit, that came out this year, didn't it?
Yeah, it's got Scott Adkins,
Was
Tony
it any good?
Jaa, Michael Jai White. I really liked it.
Mm.
Got Michael Bespin in it. It's like it's got an array of people in there who literally, like, you look at the poster and you're like, there's not a person on this poster who could not beat the shit out of everyone I know.
What is that on? Is that on Amazon or
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
I'll check it out. You know what? That was on my list at the start of the year, and like I guess it almost went into the ether there. I got to go rescue that. I got to rescue that film, bro. But yeah, I'm trying to find the article just to read a little bit more about it. But Joe, what's your thoughts?
I don't really have one, to be honest.
Oh, here I found it.
I think I'm willing to see anything with good martial arts. That's all I can say. I haven't watched a film with Tony Jaa in it since On Back.
Okay, so Tony Jaa will play a legendary assassin who disappeared 3 years ago and becomes a target for all criminal organizations and law enforcement agencies. The story will unfold in an unconventional structure, and as the manhunt accelerates, the mystery of the assassin's identity is slowly unveiled. This is Jason Bourne. This is fucking Treadstone shit, man. This is basically the Bourne Identity, but with Tony Jaa. But yeah, that's what that said to me. I know. What do you guys think?
Well, Neil's gone. We know you're saying. I don't know, man. I'm kind of. Not to sound bad about him, I'm a little bit jaded.
Yeah.
He's been in films that I've not really wanted to watch. This kind of sounds right up his alley, to be honest. Man Against the World, essentially. If it's as good as Jason Bourne, then yeah, why not?
Well, this is the kind of thing where it's all judged on that first trailer, isn't it? If that first trailer sells everyone, we're all in, you know? So, yeah, we'll have to see.
I mean, everything... again, trailers don't hold as much punch for me. Just because cinema is in the way it is at the moment, things don't hold credence for me that much anymore. If cinema's dead and everything's gonna go straight to TV, so all I have to do is wait. That's it. I don't. There's no urgency to watch anything anymore, and so that first trailer has to be fucking good.
Yeah.
It's essentially, and so I don't know how that's gonna. It has to be as far as I'm concerned. The trailer I was in the 2000s that I was most impressed with is the Matrix Reloaded trailer. That I could endlessly watch that over and over again, and if it's as good as that, I'll go watch it.
Okay.
I will sit down and watch it. Sorry.
Okay, next up, Dexter Fletcher reveals that both Sherlock Holmes 3 and The Saint, his reboot of The Saint, are both on hold until COVID is over. Okay, That's another movie that's on hold this year. I guess Robert Downey Jr. is a bit pissed because, like, he was really looking forward to not do Iron Man again. But the Saint reboot, that intrigues me because, you know, I like the Saint. Well, the show. Simon Marrett was in the in the Val Kilmer movie. But
oh yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it's on his IMDb now.
Oh,
yeah, it's official.
The Saint. I find that intriguing. It's not the first film I would think they would go to do, but I guess it hasn't been on screen for a couple of decades now. So
no, you know what? Funnily enough, there was a Netflix movie.
Of course, there was.
There was.
I thought it was a show.
No, it wasn't a show. It was okay. So what it was, Netflix didn't make it. I think a TV company did a TV pilot. They did it in a movie form, and it went nowhere. And then Netflix saw the IP and just bought it. You know, just bought the TV movie and repackaged it as a movie. And that's what I think went down. That's not official, by the way. I just want to clear that up. Because, like, quite obviously, it wasn't something that they made. You know what I mean? You know when you can tell?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was bad, man. But you know what? It's one of the last performances of Roger Moore's career. Because he has a cameo. So, yeah. You're right there, Joe.
Yeah, sorry.
Giving us the bug-eyed.
Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I'm up for seeing the Saint. At this point, I've got nothing to lose with it. So all they have to do is make a good film. As for Sherlock Holmes, I would rather Guy Ritchie take. Actually, Dexter Fletcher's a good director, so either really. But I'd really like to see Guy Ritchie finish off a trilogy of that because it will be his style. But yeah, and what's this I hear that Robert Downey Jr. wishes to do like a universe.
I've heard something about that. I didn't really look into it too much.
Yeah, it was on Twitter, and they were saying the article was saying that Robert Downey Jr. wants to do this kind of like a universe of not films, but maybe a film over there that's technically related to that universe. I don't know. I don't know what his intentions are, but I guess what he's learnt from being in these Marvel films, he's taking over to this. And I'm quite intrigued to see what that looks like, to be honest. I guess it will be something else to watch. But yeah. Good luck to Dexter Fletcher. I think he's a good director. I don't think he's got the recognition he deserves, really, because he took on most of Bohemian Rhapsody. And,
no, that's a lie. He only filmed a week and a half's worth of footage, and it was all pickup shots.
If that's not pressure, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
So I still think he deserves a lot of recognition for
Eddie the Eagle. Fantastic movie.
There you go. But you don't hear his name thrown around that much. He's kind of like who's the guy that filmed Jurassic Park 3?
Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
Joe Johnson.
He's kind of the British Joe Johnson. He kind of
comes in, clears the mess.
Yeah, and then fucks off.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Joe Johnson can make a safe movie. You know what I mean? You know it's in capable hands, but you know it's not gonna blow you away. Does that make sense? Like he hasn't really done a bad movie except for The Wolfman, but that's a Benicio del Toro one. But again, that was a movie he came in to save.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like them.
Yeah, so and even he couldn't save it. So you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's his shtick, man.
That's all I got to say on Sherlock.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, Adam Sandler is to star in a new drama for Netflix by director John Reck.
For Netflix, you say? How could this be?
Yeah, director John Reck, who did the Chernobyl TV series, who directed the Chernobyl TV series.
Yeah.
It's based on the novel, but it's based on a novel by, I'm going to butcher this name, by the way, Jaroslav
Just read them.
Kalfa, called A Spaceman Bohemia. The film's produced by Tannen Chatham. So yeah, this is a big drama thing coming off Uncut Gems, another drama for him. Thoughts?
Meh. That's literally all I have to say about it. I understand what he does for Netflix. I saw his last film, and going by that, I would rather. I don't know. There's lots of things I would rather watch.
But you know what? Have you guys seen Uncut Gems?
No. I don't have Netflix.
You guys haven't seen Uncut Gems?
I don't have Netflix.
Yeah, but it came in cinema as well.
I didn't go to watch that film in the cinema. It didn't come out in the cinema over here.
Yes, it did.
Where?
It was in View.
Okay.
It was in Odeon. It was in Cineworld. It was in most cinemas, dude.
I did not.
Okay, well, fair enough. All right. Well, I had a cinema release. Okay, before you get all streaming.
It is bullshit. It really is.
Yeah, all streaming is bullshit. It did have a cinema run. Anyway, point being is, Uncut Gems was amazing. His performance was amazing. I thought.
Did he win a award for it?
No, he got nominated, man. I think they're like, you can have the nomination, but there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. And he even said, you know what? He even said during the Oscar run, he'll go, if I don't win the Oscar, I'm gonna make the worst movie.
And he did.
That mankind will never forgive me for.
And he did.
And I hear he succeeded.
Yeah, he did. It's a Halloween film. I can't remember what it's called, but
Hubby Halloween.
He does the stupid voice. He's the underdog.
Well, all I can say about this is like two points. One, even though I haven't seen Uncut Gems, there is not a person I know who has watched Uncut Gems who has anything negative to say about it. They're all like, this film is amazing and he is amazing in it. And that's one point. Another point is that I think comedians are uniquely qualified to be phenomenal serious actors.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because we are so used to seeing them in these roles where they are attempting, they're trying to make you laugh, that when you see them in a serious role, it's almost unnerving. Like whether we're talking about Robin Williams, you know, whether we're talking about Adam Sandler, it's seeing them, the funny ha 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 guy, suddenly just being dead serious. Like it's to the point, like you see a comedian, take any comedian and make them a villain in a serious film, they become genuinely scary.
Yeah.
So I mean, him taking on this and another serious film, go for it, bro. Go for it.
To be honest, go on, Joe.
I was going to say, in his dramatic role, I've seen him in Punch Drunk Love, and I will get to watch Uncut Gems at one point. But Punch Drunk Love, he was amazing in. He's good. It just watches. And Funny People, I liked him in Funny People.
Oh yeah, well. Funny People was fantastic. That's the one with Eric Manu, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the fight in the garden. Yeah. That's amazing. If he to be honest, I'd rather him do those films. But I mean, he's his own man. I for all the stick that I give him, he's doing his thing. I haven't done anything like that, so I can't talk. So more power to him, man. Do your thing. Just don't
Yeah.
just don't
So
make
the
that Halloween film.
story follows an astronaut, Sandler, sent to the edge of the galaxy to collect mysterious ancient dust. As soon as he finds it, his earthly life falling to pieces and turns to the only voice that could help him try and put it back together. It just so happens to belong to a creature from the beginning of time lurking in the shadows of his ship. Okay.
It sounds interesting. This sounds like something that Ridley Scott would make.
Yeah.
Sounds like Ad Astra.
Oh, Ad Astra, yeah.
Yeah, that dead ass movie with Brad Pitt.
Wait. I never saw that. Yeah, it sounds interesting. As you said, trailer. As soon as I see a trailer for it, I'll engage. But for now, I can't. Adam Sandler has left a really bad taste in my mouth for the last film of his that I watched, and I can't really forgive him this year for that because this year's been quite a shithole for me.
Yeah.
And I can't forgive him for that. I forgive him next year.
Yeah, next year, like all be different.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, so next up we have Adam Sandler again. Is in a new Netflix movie called
Netflix movie. Fuck off.
Yeah, another Netflix movie, part of his comedy deal though. It's the movie Hustlers.
Little Nicky too.
It's a sports comedy, kind of like all this like Happy Gilmore and stuff like that. Chances are this is gonna be by the producers of Hubby Halloween. How we feel? So, in true Adam Sandler fashion, it looks like he's doing those Oscar roles, but for every Oscar role, you got to stomach the usual shindig. Oh God!
That's what I think about that. I mean, it's like a really you have this attractive girlfriend, but this attractive girlfriend's head to toe beautiful, but except she's got a penis, and it's bigger than yours. And she occasionally fucks you in the ass with it. That's Adam Sandler's films. I will say no more.
Anything to add, Neil?
No, I think Joe hit it with a mic drop moment.
Okay. Matt Damon is to reteam with Steven Soderbergh for No Sudden Moves. This cast is getting huge, man. Have you seen who's in it? You got Brendan Fraser, Ray Liotta, David Harbour, John Hamm, Benicio del Toro, John Cedar. Yeah, man.
Okay, that is an impressive cast list.
Yeah, it's being written by Ed Solomon of Bill and Ted Trilogy fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's the one film I need to watch, Bill and Ted. Okay. Yeah, I'm a Soderbergh fan, so as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I'll give it. He's kind of if there was still ticket sales, he would have sold me a ticket. But I'll watch it when it comes home. Yeah, I'm sold. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I generally like his stuff. Should be good.
Move on.
Neil?
It's good.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, cool. All right. Kenya Barris is the helm, a Richard Pryor biopic. This is the guy that is doing the upcoming Coming to America and famous for the TV show Blackish.
Right. Okay. That's the only image I don't have. Fucking hell.
Oh, sorry, no. He's only ever done Blackish. He wrote Coming to America 2, though. And he also directed a movie called #Black as Fuck.
That's a few.
That's a what?
I think that's a show.
Yeah, he directed that as well. Yeah. So, he's up for the biopic. So he must have impressed Eddie Murphy, I guess, because I think Eddie's someone on Coming to America is a producer on this Richard Pryor biopic. I just wonder who they get to play Richard Pryor.
It was supposed to be Damian Wayans at one point, wasn't it?
Marlon
Wayans. Okay. Yeah. To be honest, that's going to be tough. That's tough. Those are tough shoes to fill.
Richard Pryor is like, if you know enough about comedy, Richard Pryor, even you go away from movies, just look at his stand-up comedy. Richard Pryor is the GOAT. He is the reason. It's literally like Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedy. Richard Pryor might have 2 slots.
Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor. You're absolutely right, man. I don't know who's on that Rushmore mountain, but he's definitely the name up there. And I've seen Blackish. It has its moments of. I remember watching an episode of Blackish where I can't remember the main actor's name, but
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, he was taking a lift. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking. He's taking a lift, and the door opens. There's a white girl crying, a little white girl crying in the lift, and he
like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, 3-year-old white girl, and he looks around and said, "Whose girl is this?" And he contemplates on getting in the lift. He's like, "Nah." That's and I know every black guy has been in a similar situation where something like that's happened to us, that they've looked around and said, no, I'm getting it. No. And if he brings that type of funny to Coming to America and the Richard Pryor thing, gold. Absolutely. That out of everything in Blackish, I remember that the most because it was so true. So yeah, he's got my thumbs up. Not that this is a thumbs up moment thing, but yeah. Sach?
Okay, Disney are restructuring due to a bad year with COVID. Streaming is looking to be their future for now. Thoughts?
See my comments 20 minutes earlier. I'll dive headstrong into this one. Okay, so there's a finite amount of money that is to be made through streaming. The only way they can get the same results that they were doing in cinemas is to up the price of their subscriptions, and that's where I'll leave it.
I think this is genuinely a bad move.
Yeah.
Because the difference that Disney has to everyone else is that Disney are guaranteed the paycheck. And when I say that they're guaranteed a paycheck, I mean, it's like how can I put it? Okay, so like if we're gonna pretend for a moment that the MCU is not currently owned by Disney and then Disney get money from it, right? It's you are either A, heavily into comic books, B, a really good fan of those films, or C, quite invested in those actors. That's what gets you in to the MCU, right? Whereas Disney is Disney. It's a guarantee. Oh, Disney Soul is no longer coming out in cinemas. It's going straight onto Disney Plus. I guarantee you, Disney Plus is going to be running slower than molasses in January on Christmas Day, right? Because of the amount of families that are going to stick on Soul at some point in the day, because everybody watches Disney, right? There are people who have no children, who have no intention of ever having children, who watch Disney. There are people who literally there are people who raise their kids on Disney, right? I remember I don't want to go out of the way and call it a trend, but there was a moment in time recently, like within the last 5 years, where you had a lot of individuals, a lot of female individuals who were going out of their way to not show their children or their daughters Disney films because of the kind of like, it's the connotations that come with it, and it's the bad examples of setting of like waiting on a man to save you, and you know, men rule the world and women do whatever they're told, that kind of spiel, right? And like, whilst I commend anybody for making any decision that they feel will benefit their child, I'm like, for every one person who was like, I'm not showing my kid a Disney film because of that, there was about 50 who was like, can I have your Disney account?
Yeah.
Right? Because like my outlook is everyone has watched something Disney. And the thing is, you can't guarantee a family ticket for a MCU film. You can't guarantee a family ticket for a Warner Brothers DCU film. You can't even guarantee a family ticket for a Star Wars film. You can bet your bottom dollar you can guarantee a family ticket for a Disney film or a Disney Pixar film. And to drop it down to streaming, or to make streaming their future, like Joe said, I have no doubt that at some point Disney are gonna up the price of Disney Plus. But like, hey, Mulan was £20. Right? For those who bought it back in September, that was £20. Right? Mulan, to rent Mulan cost more than it will cost to buy the Mulan Blu-ray when it comes out in however many months.
So I find that hilarious.
But if you are the family that I was talking about that will buy that family ticket, that family probably jumped at that chance because they were like £20. That is £5 for your regular 2.4 kids, right? That was £5 each. And that's £5 each with the opportunity to have repeated viewings. Disney ain't ready for that kind of loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's as soon as I knew as soon as Disney announced that they were releasing a streaming service, that that's all the discs that are going to disappear. They'll still come out, but they're going to disappear, and they'll take all ownership. So the only place you can watch it is with them, and they'll charge you a premium to get that, and it'll just get higher because there's only a certain amount of people that, as you said, people share accounts, people watch things over and over. And you're sharing everyone's time. For at least in a theater, you're going to a contained place to watch it. You're going for an experience. You're buying the night, essentially, and you make an evening out of it. With Disney Plus, you're at home. The price will go up, and that's just the bottom line, because it has to, because they need to make a margin, because you can't. I just don't think you can make the films for the budgets that they're making and expect the returns that they were getting with theaters when films were in theaters. It's that if things get better in the next year and they don't do a massive U-turn, I'll be very surprised. Satch, what do you think?
I think you guys have more or less nailed it on the head, man. I've got nothing to add, dude. So, yeah. Okay, so next up, Ben Wheatley's Tomb Raider 2 has been pushed back production due to COVID. Well, that was a given, but that kind of makes sense to why he's now been tapped as director for the Meg sequel. So, yeah, literally, the minute they announced that Tomb Raider was pushed back, he's doing the Meg. Now, I'm gonna say this out loud. I think Meg's like a moneymaker thing for this guy.
Yeah, he might be taking the Soderbergh.
It's a paycheck
on
for
this.
him.
Yeah, I do one for you. I do one for myself. I do one for you. One for myself. If that's the way he's going with it, then that's fine. I seeing Ben Wheatley's past films, I think he'll bring some. To Tomb Raider anyway, he'll bring some kind of more visceral, real version of the character than what's been before. If no one has seen Kill List, you're in for something special. At some point, I think he should do Ben Wheatley should do a Die Hard film. I think he'd be really. It would show a very visceral John McClane, and I think that would who plays John McClane?
Bruce Willis.
I think it would give Bruce Willis because he's not a bad actor. When he's interested in the job, you get a performance out of him, as you always say, Satch. And I think Ben Wheatley can bring that out of him. Anyway, I've gone far off book now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing with Bruce Willis. Like, he's done some amazing films over the years. You know, in his heyday, he's done some amazing films. It's just lately, he just, I mean, I think the last great Bruce Willis film that I can think of was Looper. You know what I mean? And that was something he was invested in.
Yeah.
And you could tell. And you could genuinely tell. So, yeah. To go from Looper to whatever bargain bin straight DVD film he's doing now, it's like it's upsetting a little bit. So,
As for the Meg, I saw the Meg the other day. That can only get better. It's not a bad film, but it can only get better.
The thing to remember about the Meg. Is the Meg is based on a series of books, and last I checked, there was about 6 of these books. Like if they planned to make a one Meg film for every book, there would be more Meg films than. There'll be more Meg films than there are Matrix ones.
Fair enough. Anyway, again, Ben Wheatley, I think he's a very competent director. I still think he's going to reach an echelon soon because he works with cheap budgets and his films look like quite big films.
I love Free Fire, man.
Yeah, Free Fire. I watched that on the plane. I remember enjoying. I think I need to watch it again because watching something on a small screen doesn't really help. Because I remember enjoying it, but not as much as I thought I would. And,
man, it's such. I really enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. Again, when you're on a plane, you watch something in parts.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone's calling you. Anyway, I remember enjoying it. So look, he's good at his craft. He can make something very small look huge because I know Free Fire had a really small budget. So
that's right.
Yeah, that's all I got to say.
No,
nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, last but least, Rocky and Raging Bull producer Ivan Winkler. I actually think he's related to Henry Winkler. Do you know why? Henry Winkler was in an interview recently, and he had an involvement in Rocky. the making of Rocky. He basically, when Sly gave it to to somebody over at one of the studios, and it's the same studio that did Happy Days. I think it was Universal. I'm not too sure.
I think it might be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Rocky films are done by MGM, but I think someone at Universal had it first. And what happened was Henry Winkler met up with Sylvester Stallone, whether it was on a film or whatnot, and I think it was Henry Winkler that got the script to the Universal executive, and Universal were after it, but they wanted to cast someone famous in a role, etc. And then basically Sylvester Stallone was like, no, he wants the script back.
Right.
And then basically Universal really, really wanted it, really wanted to do it, to a point where it was a case of no, literally no, we won't give him the script. You know what I mean? It's ours now. And then Henry Winkler basically had a lot of clout back then because he was Fonzie in it. And don't know what he said, but he more or less got the script back to Sylvester Stallone, who took it to MGM. So I think this guy probably is related to Henry Winkler. That's why, because it's the same surname. And then, Henry Winkler's not credited in Rocky. Do you know what I mean? Right. So to say that story, I'm like, that must be a relative. But anyway, Ivan Winkler has suggested that they are actually looking at Michael B. Jordan to direct Creed 3. MGM has currently hired screenwriter Zach Baylin to pen the screenplay, which will be the first time a Rocky movie has been penned by an external writer. If you can remember, like Sylvester Stallone has written all the Rocky movies, with the exception of Creed 1, which was actually written by Ryan Coogler, who was a fanboy of the series, and obviously Creed 1 has become the spin-off series that it is now. Entering studio property with this franchise, but how do we feel about Michael B. Jordan coming back, and what's this guy done? Zach Baylin. We're about to find out.
I'll talk about. I think Michael B. Jordan would be great to direct it. If he does, I'd rather him cut his teeth on something else first. But I guess why not at this point? Why can't What is Coogler doing at the moment?
Black Panther 2 is his next big thing.
Right, okay. All right.
So, yeah. Obviously, that's been pushed back for obvious reasons. But, the writer has done... Well, he's only just done a film that comes out next year called King Richard for Will Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, Will Smith's in that film, and John Bernthal.
John Bernthal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I've never heard of this film. So yeah, other than that, he's only got that to his name and screen credit. Otherwise, he's been a second unit director, and just mainly a second unit director on various different movies. I don't know what to say about the screenwriter because, I've not seen him do anything. So that's going to be interesting. In terms of Michael B. Jordan, I don't have a problem because here's the thing. The Creed franchises, the Creed and Rocky films have mainly been like small family kind of dramas, really. You know what I mean? And it's the perfect film for a first-time filmmaker to cut their teeth on.
You think
etc.
so?
Yeah, I do. I honestly do think so. What it needs, though, because he is a first-time film director and because of the nature of the fight scenes, he needs to have an experienced DOP, someone like a Bill Pope or even... Bill Pope, for those that don't know Bill Pope, he did the Matrix trilogy, the original Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Bill Pope knows his stuff when it comes to action directing, as well as, he can do like the smaller stuff, like he does most of Coen Brothers stuff. So, you know what I mean? Like he'd be a good DOP, I think, if they got someone like a Bill Pope or, someone else, because end of the day, a director doesn't necessarily have to be well versed in the fight scenes. They need to be well versed with the commanding the production. In terms of the fight cinematography, like Creed 2, I felt, I liked it, I enjoyed it. And again, that was like a first-time director as well, that was like a calling card. Well, I think he did one other film, but it was like, a real smaller film. So
I watched Creed 2 2 weeks ago. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But I felt, you know what it was? Coogler stepped it up a notch. I don't know who his DOP was, but if Michael B. Jordan gets that DOP back, then that would do wonders for the film, because Creed 1 had some amazing fight sequences in terms of cinematography, and kind of brought something new to boxing films and Rocky, if that makes sense. Because some of them were all one shot fights.
One shot takes, yeah.
And I thought that was the way it was executed was amazing. Obviously Creed 2 went back, took a step back and filmed it a bit more traditionally, and that's fine. But I don't know, man. It depends who he gets as his DOP. As long as he's got a good and experienced DOP, then that's fine. The rest is all on him, just trying to get that dramatic performance out of all of his actors. And yeah, it's fine. But again, it all comes down to script and story. We don't have Sylvester Stallone writing these words, and more importantly, we don't have Ryan Coogler. You know what I mean? I'm surprised Ryan Coogler is not back in any kind of capacity. Maybe he is executive producing because he's in Marvel Land, because he was executive producer of Creed 2. So we'll have to see, man. I'm kind of pro this because it means that B. Jordan's he's more invested in the series, if that makes sense. Because I think if he was just an actor for a payday, that, it'll be like, does that mean he's not invested for more? Because I think, I love the series, and if it could go the distance as long as Rocky has, I think that'd be really interesting, to be honest, because it does have its followers, because there's a lot of people that got introduced to the whole saga through Creed and Creed 2. So I think it's this generation's. What do you guys think? And what would you like to see in Creed 3? I mean, like, for me, I would like to see, we've had a part of me, there was a group chat about this, and I agree with my friend Chris, like, with Rocky, I don't think Rocky should come back. If he does, it should be a cameo, like at the end fight, come in just before he goes in, give him one piece of advice, and that's Rocky's role. He's watching from the ring with his grandson, you know what I mean? Like that's it. Because in terms of Rocky's story, I felt it came to head with Creed 2, if you know what I mean. The only where else to go is to kill the guy off, and no one wants to see that, really, you know what I mean? Like, I would lose my shit. But I mean, I just felt Creed 2 had the perfect ending for Rocky Balboa. In terms of Michael B. Jordan's character, I think Adonis Creed, I think they should I think they should give him a new adversary. I think we should see what he does under his new trainer, and I think they should, there's loads of dynamics they could take it with his wife and her hearing and stuff, and her love for music, and also I think whoever they pick as the next bad guy, I'm boring Joe, he's gone to sleep.
No, I mean,
that's what it looks like.
You asked us our opinion, and then
I went into.
You were sounding off, and then I thought, okay. I'm just no, carry on.
But I feel the next big bad should be. I think what I miss from the Rocky series, like ever since Balboa. Like Balboa was a fantastic movie. Creed was a fantastic movie. Creed 2 was great. But I just feel the villains haven't been as flamboyant or, as meaty as they have been in Rocky's past, because they've always just cut, like, what's it, Balboa, you know what I mean? Like, there was nothing really to him other than he was the heavyweight champion of the world. In Creed 2, in Creed 1, it was like, he was a one-note villain. You know what I mean? He was just like, I'm the bad guy, but they didn't spend that much time with him. With original Rocky, fucking Carl Weathers is the most charismatic motherfucker in the fucking galaxy now. And he was so in his youth, man. Like, he was such a charismatic cat. You knew who he was. You knew what his deal was. You know what I mean? You know who Apollo Creed is. You know who Mr. T is, Bubba, what's that, Bubba Lang. You know who, you know what I mean? You know who Dolph Lundgren is, because even though Dolph Lundgren didn't say much, he, you know what I mean? He was a different type, you know what I mean? And
when he spoke, he was.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I just feel I just missed the kind of characters that they had. I mean, we had Dolph Lundgren in the second one, but you know what I mean, it was different. You know what I mean? I want someone more flamboyant. I'd get an A-lister as his opponent, man. Get fucking Dwayne Johnson, man. He's charismatic as a motherfucker, but people are probably too like, nah, fuck him. But
He'll be too old to go up against Michael B.
Yeah, that's true. Unless maybe he plays like a boxer that goes, fuck this guy, I can take him, blah blah blah, like a comeback fight, and he trains and then he's like super hench. Yeah.
Even though I personally don't want to see a Creed 3, I think they did everything they needed to do with Creed 1 and 2. I feel like the perfect person to be an opponent for Adonis would be Conor McGregor.
Actually, Conor McGregor. Not a Conor McGregor. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Not a Conor McGregor-esque. Conor McGregor, the notorious Conor McGregor, right? Because
that would be his Mr. T.
Yeah,
that would be Mr. T. Because what it is, and I don't know if you guys watch wrestling, but yeah. All right. Now, to this day, one of the top 5 ever promos before a match was Ric Flair.
Oh yeah.
The diamond ring wearing, Rolex wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, right? That speech. And I'm just like, imagine you're talking about a boxing match and almost word for word verbatim is that, and it's Conor McGregor. Because you need, like you say, Sash, you need that flamboyant, larger than life personality opponent. But you also need someone with the credentials where you can say their upbringing was the opposite of Creed's, right? Basically, for me personally, the best villain in the Rocky franchise for me was Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
Because he was the twisted version of Rocky, right? Apollo was already a star when we meet Apollo, so he wasn't the guy. And Ivan Drago was created for this purpose. So he was basically a giant robot. And, Tommy was the apprentice gone bad, right? But Clubber Lang was plain and simply the guy. He was, I'm you if I'm you watching you. Right? And it's, I've come from the streets, I've come from the hard work, I'll train by myself. I don't need the glitz and the glamour and the lights and all that. Now, because Adonis's story is he is far more humble. Even though he, because he maybe he's got a reason to be humble because of the fact that he is, the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed, and, he's grown up in a lap of luxury, but, with that edge of never quite fitting in. His opponent needs to be someone who's just like, I'm from the streets. You had it handed to you, and I'm from the streets. But unlike Drago, where Drago's like, all right, we live this hardship, this hard life because of failure. We've got a reason why we're here. No, this is just pure bad luck. This is just someone who's just like, hey, I never had a rich, I'm the son of this great boxer, and I've got all this acclaim, and I was raised in a lap of luxury. I don't have any of that. No. I started at the bottom, and I fought my way up to the top, and now I'm here, and here you are. oh, we're just sorry sob story. Oh, because your wife can't hear and your kid can't hear and your daddy's spinning in his grave because he got knocked out by this guy, right? Just have someone who's just absolutely horrible, deplorable, but in that you'll love it anyway kind of way. That's his opponent.
Yeah,
and it's him having that realization of you've made it on your own 2 feet. You've stepped out. That's film 1. You stepped out of your father's shadow. That's film 2. Film 3 is now why. What do you fight for now? You've done all of this. Do you really need to continue?
Creed 3, written by Neil Coppin.
Nah, man, don't give me that, because like the shit I would have the villain say in his little promo before the fight, yo, that's some horrible shit.
When did Mickey die in the original Rocky films?
Rocky 3.
Rocky 3.
Yeah, so that's when you have Rocky die. And I think Connor would have to be responsible for that somehow. If in Neil's script version.
I'd start with Rocky's death. Ooh. I would start with the funeral. That's the opening scene. Is the funeral.
Wow. Okay,
right?
Okay.
Is you know
what? Save it for creative control, dude. Trust me. And you know what? Go last. Do you know why? Because that would destroy Ken. Trust me.
Really?
Luckily, he'll be safe because he'll have heard this before we do it.
No, I don't think he will. But
I don't think you'll hear it.
Nah. No, he won't. I like your idea though. Getting Conor McGregor is, I mean, that's recent. It's recent and it's still visceral. So I think
and it's someone who you can believe.
Yes, absolutely.
Someone who you can absolutely believe could. It's not just could he beat up
Muhammad Ali?
Beat up Michael B. Jordan? It's could he beat up Adonis Creed? Probably.
I wonder what happened to Tommy Gunn.
He's probably thinking the same thing.
Oh, God.
I can't remember what you were asking us, Sach. You asked us what do we
thoughts on it.
Thoughts on the movie, thoughts on how you think Creed 3 should go, whatever, just Creed thoughts, man.
I'm up for seeing a third one. I really enjoyed this. I liked seeing the extension. It made Drago more human. He was more relatable in the second film than, I mean, he was a robot in the second one. And the fact that the whole country shunned him and he was this nobody that was trying to make his son what he was. And even his son, I don't want to ruin the film, but I like how that film ended. It was really nice. There was a lot of humanity in what's his name, Drago. Yeah, much more than I suspected there would be, and I really enjoyed that film. So if they can, as Neil says, I think they've said everything they need to say without upsetting anyone so far. Yeah. So I reckon beyond this, because you have to raise the stakes now. Either you kill Rocky, or I don't know where you go from there. That's the final taboo of the, and then he goes to see Rocky, and you see he's buried at the grave, and he sits down and talks to them. And so, Adonis Creed comes down. It's a circle of life. It's a circle of life. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to see in the third one. Neil's idea seems to be the strongest idea, and besides anyone A-list MMA artist. I mean, who's the boxer they had in the first film?
Tony Bellows.
He's a real boxer, right?
Yeah, real.
Right. And so that brought some
legitimacy.
Legitimacy to.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone that Adonis fights in Creed 1 is a real boxer.
Right. Okay. Who's the Drago's son? Is he?
Oh, he's a real boxer too.
Okay. Yeah, he just had that look. He was, yeah. Yeah, man. I what can I tell you? I like the idea for if Michael B. Jordan's directing. He's done enough films with Coogler and the Marvel universe to, well, not just Marvel, but he's worked in the industry enough to know what to do now. I guess he's qualified to do something this will be his first film, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So yeah, more power to him. If it is him directing, I wish him luck. And that's it.
Okay, and that's it.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, all right. Wow, we finished that earlier than I expected.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
How long is it?
2 hours, 30 minutes.
See,
I think that's it. That's it. We got to talk about a lot, and yeah,
only cut one thing from the itinerary, really. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess that's it, guys. Anything to plug?
No,
not really.
What do I have to plug? I've got something to plug.
Creative Control.
Creative Control. It's part of the Zedos Gang network or family, whatever you want to call this.
The Zedos Gang cinematic universe.
I like that.
ZGCU.
the ZCU. Okay. I actually like that. Well, yeah. As Neil said, the Creative Control podcast is, I think, fortnightly. I have to double check with Ken on that. So you get episodes every Monday, I believe. You can get it on Spotify and any platform that carries audio. Essentially, most platforms that carry audio. Just put in Creative Control Zedos Gang and you'll find it. And yeah, that's it. I don't like saying this, but subscribe if you want to. I don't like pandering. So
like, share, and subscribe. I will pander. Like, share, and subscribe. Zedos Gang, get it done.
Get it done.
Do it now. Do it now.
Thank you, Mr. Producer Sach, for putting everything together. And anything you have to plug?
No. You can find me on Sashman3 on Twitter. And follow my random follow my random Ghost of Tsushima posts. And you could probably follow me on Twitch as well. Same thing, Sashman3. And watch me and my buddies play Call of Duty and see me die in multiple ways. Because I'm not very good, but, it's always fun, the banter.
Okay, well, and that's it, I guess. Nothing left to say. Anything to say, Neil? Okay. Well, thank you, guys. This has been an interesting episode. We've been through certain emotions. I think Adam Sandler kind of spiked me in that. But yeah. Anyway, this has been the Zedos Again podcast, and we're out.
Go on, do it. Come on.
I am the man that killed Jamie Lannister.